News.
The news starts now. AM 1240 and 95.3 FM. WJON.
Well, good morning. I'm Jim Maurice. It's 6:32. It's 58 right now. Your WJON weather eye forecast coming up in a few minutes after the news. News this hour brought to you by Farmers and Merchants State Bank and Zablocki Roofing. Our flood watch will start at 7 o'clock this morning. One person hurt when their camper exploded on Sunday. Morrison County Sheriff's Office says they received a call at about 7 in the morning of a man bleeding at the Piers Park campground. Deputies arrived to find 57-year-old Paul Hoheisel of Piers at the campground, badly burned from injuries received when the camper he was in exploded. The sheriff's office says deputies found a gas was turned on in the camper and there was a cigarette lying on the floor. Hoheisel was alone in the camper at the time of the explosion, airlifted to Hennepin County Medical Center. Nobody hurt when a car started on fire last Thursday. Stearns County Sheriff's Office says they got a call at 6565 225th Street in St. Augusta for a vehicle fire. Deputies arrived to find the car fully engulfed in flames. Sheriff's Office says the car was parked near the attached garage of a home. St. Augusta and Rockville fire departments responded to the fire and put it out. The car was a complete loss. The damage to the garage and siding also. House sustained smoke damage. Nobody was in the car at the time of the fire, and the house was evacuated. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Stearns County Sheriff's Office getting a new tool to help parents learn about the dangers that might be lurking in their children's bedroom. The Justin Pearson Foundation and Pleasureland RV donating a trailer for the Hidden in Plain Sight program. Sheriff Steve Soika says his donation has been in the works for some time, but then owner Dan Pearson got sick and died last spring.
Then Dan got sick and ultimately he passed away last spring, but one of his last wishes, according to his daughter Whitney, was to make this donation occur. So daughter Whitney and myself got together and talked a little bit more. We showed her kind of what we were looking at doing, and so they decided they would donate a closed trailer that we're going to use as, like I said, a mobile-type classroom.
The trailer will be set up to resemble a child's bedroom, so I guess his parents can walk through the trailer and learn about what to look for, whether it's drugs or other dangers that may be hiding in plain sight. The trailer will be used at county fairs, outdoor festivals, and other special events. A Paynesville student has used a class project to restore a treasured family heirloom. Mason McNabb is a junior at Paynesville High School and restored a bench that belonged to his great-uncle, Gary McNabb, as a project in his shop class. Mason says the bench is over 50 years old, and it was on his uncle's property in Waseco overlooking a river. Mason says Gary wanted the family to have the bench once he passed.
He just passed away in October of 2023, so when we were kind of cleaning up his house, that was one of the things that he thought would be cool for us to remember him by and have a piece of him. So we brought that bench home probably a little after October, and then I had a woodshop class this last quarter of school, and so that's when I refurbished it.
Mason says it took him about 8 hours to refurbish the bench, and he was able to keep all of the original metal from it. The bench now sits outside the family's house overlooking their grass field. WJON News Time is 6:35. It's cloudy and 58. News this hour brought to you by Farmers and Merchants State Bank and Zablocki Roofing. Your WJON weather eye forecast on the way in a few minutes from now. You can listen live to WJON at home with your Amazon Echo device. Just say, hey, Alexa, play WJON. Jim Maurice, WJON.
All right, Jim, today is National Wait Staff Day, so be especially nice to your waiter and waitress, especially since it'll be a rainy day today, it looks like, coming in from outside. Here are some things that oftentimes can be an irritant for servers, waiters or waitresses. You've never been?
I haven't. I always have admired folks that can do that, and I've always, back in the day, I wish I would have been a waiter, but I never did do that.
I was a cook, so I dealt with waiters and waitresses often, and they had to go and they were public facing, where I really wasn't. Yeah. So I always thought that those were challenges, and working with waitresses and waiters was very important to be able to have that good relationship, and because they were dealing with some crappy things sometimes. And here are some examples. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jim, 10 being the most irritating, 1 being not irritating at all, how would you deal with some of these things? If somebody is talking on a phone while you are trying to get their order from them, on a scale of 1 to 10, how irritating is that? They're at the restaurant. They should be focused on
because the server's got other tables as well.
They
so
do.
I suppose maybe a 6 or a 7.
Okay. It's a little bit more than average as far as the irritation goes. Snapping your fingers at you. I've never seen this done. It must happen. Yeah. But gal, I would think that was got to be close to a 10 as far as irritation.
I would assume that would be like you should never do that to anybody. Really.
No,
so I would say that would be 10 irritating.
No, that's kind of demeaning. Making loud noises to try to get the wait staff attention, which is kind of similar to the finger snapping.
I suppose that would be 8 or 9. Depends on what the noise is, I suppose. But
not attending to your children. Children running around or behaving badly.
Yeah, that's up there. Like say 8 or 9 too.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Okay. People that are not controlling their bodily functions. Belching. Passing gas.
Yeah, that's
things like that.
Nobody wants to be around that.
How about coughing or excessive nose blowing at the table?
I suppose I can't really help that. So I'll say that's closer to a 4 or 5.
Okay. This one, I suppose this might happen on occasion. Taking food without permission. Not sure when that would be a possibility. I mean, sometimes you'll bring out like complimentary like breadsticks or bread at the table or something like that, but that would be with permission.
Well, I did see recently, it was within the last few weeks, I was downtown and I was sitting at the bar, and the gentleman next to me wanted some garnishes for his soda pop. So he reached into the garnish, tin that's at the bar, like the cherries and this cheese.
Okay.
And he got caught, and the bartender chewed him out. She's like, "Do not dig into my garnish tray again. That is for me to touch, not for you to touch."
Yeah. Okay, so this does happen.
Yeah.
And that's an example of people taking food without permission. Yeah. Okay. Putting your feet up on a table or bar.
Well, yeah, you should never do that. That's a 10.
That is nasty. Don't do that. This one is not necessarily unique to a restaurant, but drenching yourself in perfume or cologne. Where is that on the irritation scale for you?
It doesn't irritate me a whole lot, but it is certainly noticeable. I'll say 6-ish. Yeah.
How about individuals? Let's say you got a group of like 5-6 people, and they're not sure how they're going to split the check. Is that an irritant? And would this be the kind of thing that only somebody who's been a waiter or waitress could really answer?
Probably, because usually when we go out, if it's with a group of friends, we already know who's buying whose, It's like, to me, it's not that difficult to figure out. So
I know some people that still work in the restaurant industry, and they do prefer that before you even order, to kind of explain this is how it's going to be split up as far as the check goes. That's what they like. That's what they prefer.
As we're placing our orders, when we make it clear who's got which checks. Yeah.
So picture yourself as a waiter. How about if somebody under tips on a scale of 1 to 10? How irritating is that?
I would assume that's high.
That would be high.
Right? Yeah.
You're not working just to work. You're working to make money.
Yeah.
And tips are a part of that. So if you're getting under tipped, I don't think you'd be too happy about that one. All right, so be good to your servers today. Jim, what do you got coming up at 7:05?
Well, the BCA's got a new unit we're going to tell you about at 7:05 this morning.
All right, Jim, thank you. 6:40, and we're at 60 degrees. We do have some rain that's going to be a factor for us today. We got details in the weather forecast with meteorologist Kara Foster now.
Boring.
WJON radar weather.
Joined now by meteorologist Kara Foster for a look at the weather forecast. All right, Kara, I'm looking at radar now. Looks like there's more and more showers kind of building coming up from the south and west.
Right. Yeah. This system already has a lot of moisture in it, already has a lot of heat. We really didn't dip much cooler than we are right now overnight last night, and humidity is already pretty high. So as it's starting to build, it's gonna be very easy for it to do so. So if you are looking at the radar right now, it is a little bit intimidating. We don't see anything too intense for Minnesota quite yet, other than just a lot of rain on the way. Now, once again, over here in St. Cloud, we are only looking at a slight risk for some severe weather. The main focus for us today is going to be the heavy rainfall. So we do have a flood watch for most of the eastern and central southern portions of the state. That starts at 7 a.m. That goes until about 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. During this time, heavy localized, flash flooding could be possible. Also, an overflow of some small creeks, maybe some small rivers could be possible as well. So once again, turn around, don't drown, don't be driving through those flooded roadways. We're reaching a high of 69 today. Showers and thunderstorms pick up pretty soon here. So we're already kind of seeing it pick up and move pretty quickly into here. It is a fairly fast moving system, but as you mentioned, it is building very fast. So it might linger, seeming like it's lingering a lot longer just because it's building as it's moving. Showers and thunderstorms do continue into tonight. We'll dip down to 51. Westerly winds are gusting up to 40. As far as rainfall amounts, we're looking at maybe 1.5 to 2 inches possible just from today. If you are moving anywhere south of here today, like towards Elk River to the cities, we are looking at a slight risk. Anywhere from basically Red Wing and to the southeast of there, we're looking at an enhanced risk. And then Preston, Minnesota, Austin, Minnesota, the very small corner of the southeastern corner of the state is looking at a moderate risk. So there is very heightened chances for some tornadic activity, hail, and winds over there. Today's forecast is brought to you by Fleet Farm. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster.
All right, Kara, thank you. At 6:44, and we're at 61 degrees. The official high at the St. Cloud Airport yesterday was 74. Low was 55. We had 0.15 of an inch of rainfall yesterday. The average high temperature for the state is 70. Average low is 47. Record high temps at a 1964 of 95. Record low set a 1979 and a 1986 of 30. Currently 61. Next on WJON, a CNBC market update.